Okay, we're gonna try this again. I think I got my phone situation figured out, so hopefully we don't have issues like that again today. We are going to stitch some of the swirls and the wreath. I've got a couple of kids home sick, so if I have to leave suddenly, don't mind me. Let's see if we can get through this real quick. All right, so let's start with the wreath. You can pick whichever green you want. I generally do the darkest green for the circle, but if you want, you could choose a different color. It's not going to make like a huge difference. So I'm pretty sure I have the right colors in my hand, but let me double check. $8.95. Okay, so I'm gonna start with $8.95 for the wreath. And we'll go from there. We're just gonna stitch just the circle today, and then later we'll do the rest of the wreath. I don't want to do the whole wreath over the stick and stitch, so we're just gonna do the shape of the circle, and then we'll do the rest later. All right, so I've got 2 strands of $8.95, and I'm just tying a knot at the end. Give me just a minute. We're gonna do some more back stitch. So nothing too exciting, but it has to be done. So we talked about it when we were doing the curved window, but you want to keep your stitches just a little bit smaller since the whole thing is curved. It just is going to give you a better shape. It's not going to matter a whole bunch because a lot of this will get covered up with the rest of the wreath, but still it's a good time to practice. And then if they don't look great, then it's going to be fine because we'll cover it up. So I always think that's the best time to practice, is when it doesn't need to be perfect. It's just going to get covered up. So get you a little bit closer there. Try to stay on that circle as much as you can. It should be a perfect circle, so the closer you stay to it, the better. And then making sure you're going in the same hole that you came up in. This is super cute. Oh, thanks. I think it's a very fun pattern. I think it's gonna turn out really cute. Oh, that one was kind of big. I'm excited. And I stitch it for the first time while I'm doing the class, so I don't even know how it's gonna turn out. I think that's part of the fun, like kind of seeing the process. So then if you're working on other patterns on your own, you can kind of work through the process a little bit. And yeah, I think that's fun. Now, sometimes when you're working with a stick and stitch, because we're stitching through that sticky layer, sometimes your needle will get kind of gunky a little bit. If it starts to kind of stick or feel a little funny, you can wash it with soap and water, or use like rubbing alcohol with a cotton ball, or I have like little alcohol swabs that I use. That works really well too. But if you notice that your needle is starting to like stick or feel a little funny, you just gotta wash it off. Just water probably won't work. You could try just water, but I found that like rubbing alcohol works best if that's a possibility at your house. But if not, just like some soap and water will be fine. Almost done here. Oh, did I tell you I think I did say I'm using 2 strands. This is just to get our shape so it doesn't need to like stand out crazy or anything. All right, there is our last one. So there is our back stitch circle, and then we're just gonna leave that until we wash off the stick and stitch, and then we'll add the rest of the wreath. So let's tie this off. And then wrap this around a few things. Keep our tail out of the way. Okay, now we're going to move on from the back stitch and do a whipped back stitch. I debated how to do the whipped back stitch. I tried it just doing the back stitch over the stick and stitch and then doing the whipped part after we wash it off, but the needle kept sticking on the felt. So I think this is going to be our easiest way, is to do it on top of the stick and stitch. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to keep with my 2 strands with the white. And I'm just going to do just one of the swirls. Okay. I'm just going to pick a small one so that I can get back to my kids. So we're going to do the same thing that we did before. We're just going to back stitch this whole thing. So nothing crazy, but we have a lot of small curves. And so, or tight curves, I guess is the better word. So just be really conscious of like creating smaller stitches so that it is a little bit rounder. I had one kid sick over the last weekend, and now he was sick again last night during the night. We did not sleep very good, and then I had a kid come home early from school already. So anyways, 'tis the time of year, I guess. We don't normally get sick, so it's a little crazy that I've got 2 at home. But that's okay. We're gonna get through it. Okay. I have to really remind myself, because I like to, once the swirl part gets a little bit bigger, I tend to want to make bigger stitches, but you really want to just keep it the same as possible. And it doesn't need to be perfect, because once we whip it, you won't be able to tell what size these are. So it's not like super, super, super important. This is another good time to like really practice your back stitch, so that they like look nice and even. This is one of my favorite stitches because it looks so nice when it's done. Also, you're going to have a lot of homework today because there is a lot of swirls, and I am not going to stitch all of them live. If I'm being honest, I probably won't finish them all today. And that's fine. So if you don't finish yours either, don't stress about it. We'll probably wash off the stick and stitch on Thursday this week. So, and then you'll have like Friday and all next week to get caught up, because the bulk of the stitching is going to be like today and tomorrow. Like it's going to be all of this front stuff. So, and then it'll just be like details. So kind of be prepared that that's coming. We're almost to the end. And then we get to do the fun part. We maybe should have started with like the fencing on the bottom, but okay. Got one more. Okay, so now we've finished that swirl. We've backstitched the whole thing. So now what we're going to do is whip. Tomorrow is Thursday. Oh, yeah. I don't know what day it is anymore. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. So once you have your swirl backstitched, we're going to come back up at the end. So make sure that you went, let me get another needle. Oh, that's not going to work. So you should have gone like up on the end and down right at the second stitch, right? So you should be able to bring your needle back up at the end without any problem. So we're going to come back up at the end, and then what we're going to do is we're going to weave around these stitches that we just created. So it's called whipping the back stitch. So the thing is, you need to go the same way for the whole thing, or else it changes the look. So I'm going to go from this side of the stitch every time. So we're going to go like this, and then we're going to go under the next one. Now, as this curves, it's going to feel like you want to switch to this side of it, but you're going to stay on this side every single stitch. And now it's okay if you grab some of that stick and stitch, because it will wash away when we're done. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. Try not to grab the thread. That's what you don't want to grab. So you can kind of see, let me zoom in a little. Oh, it won't zoom in more, hold on. You can kind of see, like I haven't grabbed the thread, but I've grabbed like right next to the thread, I've grabbed some of that stick and stitch. That's gonna be fine, that'll wash away. I usually push from the back. I push up where my needle is, like right where I'm working. You can kind of see it moving a little bit, but I just push from the back. I push that up a little bit just to get my needle from not catching things around it. So once you start working on these other swirls that are around it, you want to make sure you're not snagging those as you're doing this. So work slow. We're not in any kind of rush. And it's a little bit easier when you're holding this in your hand versus in a hoop stand, because you can turn it so that it's going the way that is easiest to like put your needle through. Because it feels, I'm like at an awkward angle now, but always from the same direction. So you got to pay attention to what way you started and just do it that way every time. But then it starts to look kind of twisted a little bit. You can do this with two colors if you wanted to do like some candy cane swirls. We're gonna do candy cane swirls on the edges, but if you do a whipped backstitch and backstitch it with one color and then do this whipped part with another color, it'll make it look like candy cane swirls a little bit. But we're doing that on another part of the house, so don't feel like you need to do it now. I'm just letting you know. And it is totally fine if this takes you a little while. Nobody's in a rush. I mean, I am a little bit, but you don't need to be. Oops. Just make sure you're not like twisting it around your like working thread as well. Like keep this out of the way. So this is why we're doing on top of the stick and stitch instead of the felt. I was having issues with it, like it kept grabbing like the felt when I was trying to like go around the stitches, so oops. And then we're just gonna go down where we started, and that's it. Now, if you pull it too tight, then it will start to kind of distort your shape. So you want it to be like tight enough that it's not loose, but loose enough that it's not tight. You'll find a balance. Like this one is a little bit not as tight as I would like it, but it's not like the end of the world. But especially around these really tight curves, if you pull it too tight, you're gonna get like a ripple instead of like a swirl. So kind of just pay attention to that. So we're gonna do a whipped back stitch on all of these swirls, just at the top. Ignore the windows. So all of these swirls up at the top, and then also, well, I was gonna say the fencing as well, like these, but let's ignore this down here. So just do all of these swirls at the top. Okay, whipped back stitch on all of these, just leave this as a back stitch. Okay. So I'm gonna leave you with that. 2 strands of white, 2 strands of green, any green, but I used the darkest, which is $8.95. So, all right, that is it for me today. Sorry it's kind of short. I just want to make sure my kids have what they need. So I will be back tomorrow and we will do some more fun stuff. Have a good day. Bye.